The start of the run wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst either. We started off with a Pidgey, so I ended up picking up the Zubats. Zubat can heal itself with its ability, and Pidgey is able to paralyze other Pokemon, so overall, not the worst start. After defeating the Magikarps, we pick up a Nevermelt Ice and get ourselves a Pidgeotto. And we pick up the bonus Pidgey as it's right there for the taking. I decide to refresh to see if there's any way we're going to get a Golbat. We don't end up getting the Golbat, but I'm not disappointed as we pick up our first Psychic Pokemon, Hatena. Looks like Hatena's specialty is that she gains a shield and she can silence adjacent enemies. She has a 1 range and has decent defense, so we're going to put her in the first row. After defeating the Rattatas on stage 2, we pick ourselves up a Heart Scale. We finally get our Golbat and we pick ourselves up a second Heart Scale, which we can then use to combine to make a Rocky Helmet. We'll put that on Hatena so it'll give her a boosted defense, and the Nevermelt Ice we have to give her a little bit of special defense. We just hit level 4, so we can now take our Pidgey and put it on the field. We get ourselves a seed and pick up a fossil from the first roulette. The idea is to pick up an Eevee after and merge the fossil with the spoon to later evolve Eevee into an Espeon to add to our Psychic team. I decide to refresh the list and pick up a second Hatena. We also end up rolling not 1, not 2, but 3 additional Pidgeys. Going into the first fight, I noticed that my opponent only brought 3 Pokemon versus our 4 Pokemon, which is already a huge advantage for us. Seems like they have a ground synergy going on, but this should be a clean first victory. On the additional pick, I think we got one of the best possible rolls, which is a Hoot Hoot. It not only does it synergize with flying, but also with Psychic on our team. And we also got the Spoon, which we really wanted to make that Dawnstone. Now we only need to roll an Eevee and we'll be able to get an Espeon, which will be an awesome buffer for our team. With Hoot Hoot on our team, now we get some additional support. He has some great defense, and he can put other Pokemon to sleep. So along with Pidgeotto, that's paralysis and sleep that we can afflict our opponents with now. Now we have 3 fights coming up. Let's see how our team fares. I'm not using the seed right now because I'm not sure which Pokemons are going to be replaced or which ones are going to be staying in the team. So I think it's best to keep that one on the side. I also didn't want to use it on Hatena as I didn't want to merge it with its current item. The first one didn't go so well and actually ends up in a loss. But you know what? It happens. We can't get discouraged. We keep pushing through. We end up getting another Zubat, which is great, and we also decided to refresh for another Pidgey. We're really close to being able to get Pidgeot, and our encounter rate for common Pokemon is going down. So as you level up, the chances that you get rarer Pokemon will go up, which in turn will make the appearance of common Pokemon go down. So common Pokemon like Pidgey will get more scarce over time. We head into the next battle, and I was a bit worried because I saw a Cyndaquil with a max revive and that green Rayquaza orb, which makes your HP regenerate. And I thought for sure that we were going into another loss, but it actually turned out okay, and we did pull through in the end. We get incredibly lucky on the next roll, and we get ourselves a Pidgeot and Hatterene. This is such a good power creep for our team. I think the next one will also be in the bag. We move the Miracle Seed to Pidgeot to give it a shield to make it a bit more resistant. And we're facing against our next opponent, who seems to be using a Fire-Steel combo. Looks like they chose to equip their Braixen and Lairon, so we'll probably see a Delphox and Aggron as part of their permanent team. And with that, we pick up another win. And we pick up the Wynot on the next additional pick, mainly because it has the Miracle Seed that we can put on Pidgeot now to get that King's Rock, which will give us 100 shield. We also pick up a Slowpoke here, as it does synergize with Psychic. We replace the duplicate Zubat. So now I just need one more synergy in either Flying or Psychic to get to the next tier. So it looks like our opponent is currently synergizing in Monster and maybe Rock from what I can see. We'll have to be a bit careful around this team because this could get out of hand really quickly. And just like that, that's how quickly things can turn around. It is another loss. And with that loss, our current standing is 4th place. Who doesn't love a good underdog story? I know I do. The Psychic Synergy has great offensive potential, and I really believe that our team had what it takes to take us all the way. We pick up another Golbat, we roll another Slowpoke, and we finally get our Eevee, which we can now evolve into Espeon. We swap out our Slowpoke for now until we can make better use of it later. We get our Espeon, which will provide much needed buffs to our team. We defeat the Gyarados with ease, but unfortunately end up rolling another Fossil, which I no longer need. We get to the first additional pick roulette, and I see that there are 2 with the Psychic type. Now I decide to go with the one with water on it, hopefully that it doesn't get picked, since it does also synergize with our Slowpoke. Upon entering the new stage, we go ahead and pick up a Stantler, which is going to be a great offensive addition to our team. We do end up replacing Hoot Hoot, which will remove a flying synergy. However, we are getting closer to that 2nd tier psychic energy, which will give us even more offensive power. Looking for Slowbro, I decide to re-roll. We do get an Abra and sell our Wynot, so we can get this Abra instead. Our next goal should now be to get to level 6, so we can get the additional member on our team. So let's get ready for the next fight. Now we're greeted with Vaporeon's water team, and if I look at the standings, Vaporeon is currently ranked lower than us. So we're hoping to continue that streak and actually win this fight. Our Espeon gets taken out early, which means we get rid of some of our buffs, but our newly found Stantler managed to carry us through, and we get the win. With this win, we now move up to 2nd place. I'm not really liking any of the choices on this pick, so I end up going for the Ponyta just to get the charcoal, and we put it on the Stantler to give us a bit more attack. We go ahead and purchase our level 6 since we're so close and we'll be able to add a new member to our team, and now we also sell the Ponyta since we don't really need that Pokemon. With our remaining coins, we re-roll, and we actually end up getting the Slowbro, which is huge. I immediately add it to the team, fix up my formation a little bit, and then we're ready for the next fight. Going into this fight, I noticed that my opponent's team is a little underleveled, and they're also level 5, which means we get the extra Pokemon. We get the clean sweep, didn't even lose a Pokemon this fight. I'm really happy with that result. I'm looking at the items on the roulette, and I would really like to have that heart scale. Although since I am 2nd place, I will be one of the last ones to get their binds removed. The heart scale is almost at my rotation and the bind's almost there. We make a dash for it, and we barely get it. We decide to combine it with the Never Melt Ice on Hatchrim, which will make a Pokédoll and make her a little bit more tanky. And just like any good underdog story, we finally get matched up against the 1st place player, and our team absolutely cooks. Looks like my opponent mainly has a ground synergy going. Notably, he has a pretty powerful Swampert up front and a Butterfree in the back choice specs, so he can paralyze and deal decent damage. However, he only brought 5 Pokemon to a 6 Pokemon fight, and he eventually gets overpowered. And with that win, we're now in 1st place. We end up rolling another Hatchrim, and these should be a lot easier to get now because uncommon Pokemon are now at the top percentage of rolls. We get paired up against Cyndaquil again, and this time he evolved the Cyndaquil into a Quilava. He also picked up a Seadra, which are both equipped with Max Revive. However, this doesn't really change the tide into his favor as we make quick work of his team and proceed to the next fight. We're quickly approaching stage 20, which means we'll be getting a guaranteed legendary, so our goal should now be to get to level 7 so we can make space for it. We end up getting a magnet as a reward for the Mewtwo fight, and also pick up an additional charcoal as the item reward. Now we're going to go ahead and put that magnet on Stantler to make a fire gem to pierce through shields, and then give him another charcoal to increase that attack. We now have enough coins to get to level 7, so we do just that and add Abra to the field. Now this will hopefully give us an advantage on the next fight, as we have an extra Pokemon. We get paired up against the monster type team again, however this time things are going a little bit differently. Our Hatchrim is doing an excellent job at tanking this time around, and we have that 7 Pokemon difference, where we have 7 Pokemon versus their 6. They were no match for us, and this time we pull off the win. We get handed another Hatena, which we will happily take, and we get paired up against our next opponent, which also brings 7 Pokemon, although their team formation doesn't really make sense to me, and we make light work of their team and move on to the next round. We pick up a much needed Twisted Spoon out of the roulette, and we give it to our Stantler to make a Shell Bell so that he'll now heal every time he does damage. On stage 17, we do end up against Vaporeon's water team again, and unfortunately things don't quite go as planned, and it does end up in a loss. But thankfully we're getting close to stage 20, where we'll get our legendary Pokemon. On stage 18, we face off against Solosis' team again, and it does end up in a win, and we reclaim our number 1 spot. We quickly grab a Charcoal as our reward from the Tower Duo as we head into stage 20 for our legendary pick. I quickly spot this Psychic Flying option, which would be ideal for my team. We quickly pick it up and hope for the best. Now it's at this point where your legendary pick can either make or break your team, and I really had no idea how influential this legendary was going to be to our run. Enter Cresselia. So we end up picking Cresselia as our legendary pick, as she offers some much needed support with her heals. She has good defense and overall good HP. I give my Charcoal in reserve to Stantler to further increase its attack, change my formation a bit, and we get ready for the next battle. We get paired up against Cyndaquil's team once more, and it seems like they brought a Groudon. Unfortunately, it still wasn't a match for our team, our Cresselia already pulling the weight with the heals, and we pull off another victory. And with that, we maintain a comfortable lead in first place with almost 20 HP difference, and we knock Cyndaquil out of the game. We jump straight into the next battle on stage 21, and we get paired up against Shinx's monster team. Funny enough, he also brings a Groudon, but this Aggron is a real force to be reckoned with. I thought that Cresselia would be able to out-heal all the damage, but this Aggron just ended up being too strong, and it ended up in a loss. We grab ourselves a much needed Rocky Helmet in the item roulette. Since we just reached level 8, we'll be able to add Abra to our team and put our Rocky Helmet on our Cresselia for some much needed defense. I re-roll since we have a few unevolved Pokemon and get a Kadabra. Now I'm hoping that with our bolstered defense and our newly added member, it's going to be enough to pull a win. We get paired up against Vaporeon's team in stage 22, who is now bringing a fully decked out Palkia. Unfortunately, even with our newly added Pokemon, we still weren't strong enough to pull out the victory this time. Despite our losses, we're still sitting in first place, although it is very neck and neck between myself, Vaporeon, and Solosis, but luckily, fate smiles our way and provides us with a Hatchrim and a Zubat. Evolving our Pokemon might be the only hope that we have at securing a victory. We get paired up against Rattata's team, who's currently sitting in 5th place. We absolutely need to win this. Thankfully, his team was no match for ours, and we secured the next victory. And with that, we knock Rattata out of the game. After defeating the legendary birds, we pick up our next reward, the Aqua Egg. Not only will this give Cresselia more PP, but she'll gain 20 PP immediately after healing, which will let her heal more in the long run, giving us more sustainability. We roll another Hatena and get ready for the next match. We face Shinx's monster team one more time as he's in 2nd place. We're hoping that our buffs will let us claim victory this time, but that Aggron is no joke. But this time, fate smiles in our direction and that Aggron goes down. With it out of the way, the rest of his team just falls apart. We face off against Vaporeon's water team once more. I was really fearful as we've never beaten this team in the past. However, Cresselia's Aqua Egg seems to be really helping, and it's healing my team considerably well. We actually managed to overpower his team and take the win. This felt so good. Vaporeon's team was probably one of the teams that I was most worried about. In the final item roulette, we get ourselves an upgrade which will considerably increase our attack speed, and then we get ready for the next round. I give the upgrade to Pidgeot, So my thought process behind this was that the more attack speed Pidgeot has, the more it can get out its Paralyze. I quickly re-roll as we head into the next match, hoping to get my final evolutions up, and I do get an extra Zubat as well as an extra Hatenna. We're so close to being able to get a Hatchrim that this might be my only chance to be able to finally clutch victory and first place. We've defeated both Shinx's and Vaporeon's team in the past, so I have a good feeling about this, but we can never underestimate a monster team. One KO, one power up, one wrong move, and it could be over as soon as it began. And for me, that nightmare quickly became a reality as his team was slowly overpowering mine. Hatchrim was no longer cutting it as a tank versus Aggron, his Tyranitar became too strong, and we lost the match. There was one more fight coming between me and Shinx to determine the winner. I desperately needed to evolve my Pokemon. I was one Hatenna away from being able to evolve Hatchrim, and I risked it all. Big risk comes big rewards. I re-rolled, hoping to get another Hatenna. Unfortunately, that was not the case. We were heading into the next match. I desperately needed a win. We defeat the legendary beasts, and I pick up my last reward, the Assault Vest. A big boost to special defense, and it reduces burn and poison damage by 50%. We're gonna give this to Cresselia. Big defense, big special defense, a lot of heals. This is what I needed to win. With the few coins I have left, I desperately re-rolled for another Hatenna, to no avail. The Assault Vest was the only thing that was going to help me towards a victory, and as I've lost before, I wasn't very confident heading into this fight. The fight began, and I held my breath. We couldn't let any of his monster Pokemon get a boost, especially not Aggron. As the fight went on, it seemed like we had a chance. My Pokemon were actually doing well. His Aggron didn't get any monster boost. Slowbro, accompanied by Cresselia's heals, was tanking Aggron like a champ. By that time, we defeated Groudon. Rhydon was next to be targeted by Stantler, but unfortunately, Slowbro goes down, and we get a big boost on Aggron. It starts targeting Cresselia, but the heals are too much. It can't take it down. In combination with the Rocky Helmet and the Assault Vest, Aggron goes down, and we get a win. That Assault Vest was absolutely pivotal to our victory. Without it, it would have been second place for sure. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content down below. It lets me know that you guys do enjoy this type of content and would like to see more in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.